There are four steps in the matchmaking process. The first step is to get to know you. The second step is to pitch you compatible people. The third step, if both want to meet, is to organize a date, booking a table in the right venue. The fourth step is to debrief the date, collecting feedback about people's behavior, people's personality, how the date went, if they want to meet again, how was the communication. And based on this data, the matching algorithm of the AI is improving, and you can increase your probability to find the one.
This is episode number 682 with Ludovic Huraux, and we're talking today about why dating apps can feel broken and how people can date more intentionally. A lot of people complain about dating apps. They don't work, the dating sites don't work, and I believe they do work, but there are other ways to approach dating, and today we're going to be talking about that topic. Hi, everybody. I'm Sandy Weiner. I am a certified dating and relationship coach, and every week I bring you expert advice and real conversations about love, about connection, and healthy relationships. At Last First Date Radio, we believe it is never too late to go on your last first date. And for more information on my private coaching programs, my courses, and my 3 books, you can go to lastfirstdate.com. Before I bring on my guest, I invite you to join my Facebook group. It's called Your Last First Date, and it's for women over 40 who are looking for a healthy, supportive, positive place to come to get dating advice and dating support. There are very few groups out there that actually give you support. Most of them are just for complaining, and they're really, really destructive, in my opinion. I am extremely involved in my group, and as I also have 7 monitors who help monitor the group. So come and join us at Your Last First Date. And now for my guest. Ludovic Huraux is the CEO of Amata. It's an AI matchmaking app designed for intentional daters. His first dating platform in Paris led to more than 2,000 weddings. That's pretty impressive. And he later founded Shapr, Shapr, a networking app that connected millions before its acquisition. He has dedicated his career to helping people build meaningful connections, both romantic and professional. And we're going to talk today about dating apps and how to date more successfully. Welcome, Ludovic. It's good to have you here.
Thank you for the invitation.
Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in connecting people. I know you've done it for work, for love, for all kinds of reasons. Where did that desire to connect come from?
I always loved connecting people. I see the value and how impactful it can be for everyone to get introduced to the right person, either in your love life or in your professional life. And it's what I did as an entrepreneur for almost 20 years now. As I started to be an entrepreneur when I was 24 years old. Now I am 42 years old, soon 43. And I started with romantic connection as I launched a first venture in 2007 called Attractive World, which eventually became one of the top 3 dating platforms in France. When we sold the company in 2016 to a group which is now listed in the New York Stock Exchange, there was 1 new wedding every day through the platform.
Wow.
And then I moved to New York to launch a new venture called Shapr, which was facilitating professional connection. It was a mix between Tinder and LinkedIn, and we had 2.5 million users. And then since 2023, I've been working on a new kind of dating experience called Amata. We are building an AI matchmaker, facilitating connection in your romantic life.
It sounds really fascinating. And for anybody who can't tell, Ludovic is in Paris. So,
Yes.
um,
So sorry for
yeah,
my accent. I hope that
no,
everyone will understand.
it's a beautiful accent. And if we don't understand, we will ask for some clarity. But so far, so good. You helped 2,000, more than 2,000 couples find lasting love. And I would love to hear some of the things that you learned about compatibility from helping those people.
Of course, physical attraction is something important, uh, but maybe not as important as people will think when they use a dating app. We saw it in the main swiping dating app. People make their choice mainly on the picture, and most of the time when they meet in real life, it doesn't work because there are many criteria to make a lasting relationship. We know that um, one of the challenge in the dating world is to maybe make people aware that sometimes they are attracted by uh, by by uh, by someone that doesn't really is the right person for them. And I think that's it's where AI can help, helping people to understand that some criteria are not the right to find the right person, uh, and that some other are maybe not emphasized enough in the decision to date with someone or not to date with someone. And what we understood is that more time you spend online, less likely you have to go on real dates. And it's what we are trying to promote with my new venture Amata, is to spend the less time possible online and go as soon as possible in real life to feel the real chemistry, to see if the values are shared, and if you have many other things that you maybe will be a little bit more difficult to feel based on the dating profile that you can, feel in real life.
I agree with that, staying online is a false sense of who the person is. You can build attraction. I did it in the beginning of dating online where I pictured myself getting married to somebody I had never met because we had such a strong connection online and over the phone. And as soon as I met, I knew this person was not right for me. It was so shocking to me how different it was in person that I never did that again. And I advise my clients to meet as soon as possible and to get on a call, even to vet to see if you even want to go on a date with a person to see if there's a connection. But so far, I agree physical attraction is important, but emotional connection and shared values are super important, compatibility plus chemistry. So how is AI different than a dating app? And I mean, yeah, dating apps also ask you for who you are and what your values are, and they'll ask you those questions. So how is AI different?
The big difference is that the way the AI ask question is totally different from the dating app. For example, on Amata, we removed the profile, we removed the chat before the date. So the way you're connecting with your AI is very conversational. So you can, share much more information with your AI, not based on, very structured question, but based on conversation. The AI will be able to detect, small signals that a classic dating app cannot detect based on this very structured question. The AI will ask you feedback based on someone it pitches, or based on the date that you did. And this feedback will create a very positive loop to increase, your experience on the app with a better matching. It will help to identify, some repetitive behavior that you could do to coach you and maybe change some of your criteria when you're looking for someone. Uh, so the experience is totally different from a classic dating app. What we try to do is to replicate the experience that you would have with a human matchmaker. As you know it, there are 4 steps in the matchmaking process. The first step is to get to know you. The second step is to pitch you compatible people. The third step, if both want to meet, is to organize a date, collecting the availabilities, booking a table in the right venue. And then the fourth step is to debrief the date, collecting feedback about people's behavior, people's personality, how the date went, if they want to meet again, how was the communication. And based on this data, the matching algorithm of the AI is improving, and you can, increase your probability to find the one.
Interesting.
So we're replicating exactly the first step that I mentioned. And the difference between an AI matchmaker and a human matchmaker is that the AI matchmaker is available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And the cost of an AI matchmaker is 50 to 100 times cheaper than a human matchmaker. As you know, a human matchmaker costs from $15,000 to $50,000 a year. And with AI, of course, you can cut the cost by 50 or 100.
Interesting, very interesting. So, I mean, it's similar to the process I take clients through. I don't organize the date for them, but I have to get to know them first, because if you don't know yourself, then how are you actually going on dates? You're usually matching with the wrong people. So people think they want certain things, they think they know themselves well, but when it comes to romantic relationships, it's often not the case, right? People,
I totally agree. I really
yeah,
believe in the power of coaching. Uh, of course, I think AI can help on this topic, but humans are the best for the moment on it, for sure. And coaching in 2 ways. The first is to help people um, having the right criteria to find the one. And the second is to help them to be emotionally available, because I really believe that to find the right person for you is above all, being ready for that. And to be ready, you need to be emotionally available. You need to love yourself, to be able to love someone else. And if you don't, um, solve this kind of, you know, issues, it will be very difficult to build a lasting relationship, because people's mind will create like something ideal that they will never, get, and could create some, negative, pattern that they will replicate again and again if they are not aware of these patterns.
yeah, people end up sabotaging often because they're bringing old stories and anxiety and old ways of thinking, and they don't know how to communicate their feelings well. They get shut down immediately at the first fight, or they just disappear. This is a big issue with dating today: is people don't communicate at all. And I'm wondering, so something about AI. I happen to love AI in many ways, and a lot of people don't. A lot of people are afraid of it, or they feel like it's taking over their lives, or there's a lot of false information that they don't understand. But I think one of the things that I have found, that like at ChatGPT, for example, I have a client who sometimes uses ChatGPT for how to respond to a text from a guy, or what to say when, or how to even coach herself when she's feeling down. She'll put the whole situation into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT will support her. Now, some of the information is really good, and some of it is just, you're amazing, the guy's an idiot. It's a lot of, I think ChatGPT was trained to just make everybody feel like they're the most amazing person.
Yes,
So,
yes, yes.
So I'm wondering how your app doesn't do that because that I think is a trap of some of the AI out there.
Yeah. So what you have to know is that our AI is mainly trained for matchmaking.
Hmm.
We have room for improvements regarding the coaching. It's where we want to go. We think that it is the right direction, but as the company, started 2 years ago, we've been, focusing on how to improve, the matchmaking experience because we knew that traditional dating app, especially swiping app, were broken. And so we built and trained our AIs for 2 years now. We tested it in Australia and we launched it officially in New York early September, with the goal to increase and improve, your dating your dating life through matchmaking. Now the AI is trained to improve the matching based on the information that you shared, then making the date happen and collecting feedback from the date. The next step for Amata will be to work on the coaching experience, helping people and challenging people on their criteria, and sometimes telling the hard truth, that's sometimes it's not the other's fault, sometimes it's your fault, and you have to be aware of it to improve and be able to find the right person. And for the moment, to be honest, it is not the area we focused on because we had so much to do to improve the matching experience.
Yeah. So the coaching is an important component of it, and being able to be honest with people in a kind way, which is something that I really pride myself in doing, to be able to give people the hard truth, without making them feel ashamed of their actions. But without the truth, they're going to keep repeating patterns. And you may feel like nobody's a good match. So the AI matchmaking can keep matching you with people, and you keep saying it's not good, it's not good, it's not good. And you're trying to give feedback, but maybe you don't even know how to give the feedback, right? I think for some people, they don't even have that insight.
Yes, I totally agree. Um, that's why, first of all, in Amata's vision, we really think that we should go on dates as soon as possible. As I mentioned, most of the time, if you start chatting, you build, an image of the people you chat with, which is like very perfect, and it is not the right image, so you will be disappointed. And there are studies that show that when you chat, more you chat, less you meet. One study showed that on Tinder, you needed 57 matches to go on one real date. And when you get this kind of statistic, you understand why people are feeling burned by the swiping dating app. It's because you need to do a lot of swipe to get matches, and then you need to do more than 50 chats to go on one real date. On Amata, we are cutting by 10 the time spent on the app to go on date. Why? Because your AI gets to know you, understand your criteria, and curate a very small, let's say a few people a day that fit your criteria and has a potential for a good date. And then if you say yes and the other one say yes, you don't chat, you only share your availabilities, and then the AI books a table in the right location for both of you and opens the chat only 2 hours before the date, just to arrange the logistic.
Hmm.
And then you go on date and you share your feedback with your AI. And what is interesting is that if someone cancels a date twice in a row, the AI will pause the new people that it will pitch. Exactly like in real life. If I connect you to a friend and you ghost my friend and you do it twice in a row, I will stop introducing my friend. It's exactly the same at Amata. If you ghost, or even if you don't ghost, if you just cancel the date twice in a row without going on dates, the AI will stop pitching new people for 7 days.
Mm.
And it's how we ensure that the community on Amata is very intentional. What we want to remove, in the dating experience is behaviors where people, are using dating apps only for their ego, only for validation, without the intention to meet in real life, because it's in real life that people fall in love. You don't fall in love online. You fall in love when you meet people in real life. You fall in love where you're dating for real, and it's what we want to encourage and to promote on Amata.
Yeah, that's a good practice that you show that you're not an intentional dater. You show that your integrity is lacking, then forget it. You're not going to keep getting pitched because that's a waste of everybody's time. I like that. So, people are paying for the app. They're coming on because they're supposedly intentional. They are talking to AI so that they get hopefully better matches. They're able to give feedback. AI sets up. So, is it always the first date is always a dinner kind of thing? Is that,
It,
is
it
that
is not a dinner. It is a drink. It could be
okay?
a soft drink or it could be alcohol. But it is we book at venues that offers drinks mainly. Of course, if you want, you can buy some foods, but it is not a restaurant because we think that the commitment when you go to have dinner is a little bit different than when you go just to have a drink and then decide if you want to go further and order for dinner.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, but I think a lot of human matchmakers set people up to go to a meal first because that's a bigger commitment. But I think to sit in front of a total stranger and eat a dinner and spend a lot of money is a big commitment, and
Yeah.
often it's too big of an expectation.
Yes, yes, I agree. I think that you can feel the chemistry. If you just grab coffee or have a drink. So people
Mhm.
on the Mata can decide if they want to meet during the day, especially during the weekend, or after work during the week. So you can book from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. During the week and from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. during the weekend.
Okay, so it's very specific. The other question, and this is an issue with a lot of dating apps, is the database is not big enough for a lot of people, and especially my audience that's a little older. They find that a lot of the apps really skew younger. What is your database like?
So we launched 6 weeks ago,
Yeah.
but the app is growing very, very fast in New York only. That's why we decided to focus only in New York. Is that in this business, as you mentioned, you need to reach a critical size, what we call an atomic network, before launching another city. And so the way it works is that we are opening, new edge ranges as soon as we get enough liquidity in the network to open it. We started with people from 21 to 50 years old. And we will probably open, new edge ranges down the road.
Great. Yeah, that's pretty good for just starting. And I was just watching the movie Swiped about Bumble starting. I don't know if you saw that movie.
No, I didn't have time to watch it.
Yeah, it was really interesting how Tinder started and watching for the first million and how exciting it was when they reached a million because that was the beginning of swiping apps and how
Yes,
Bumble
but
began.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
really
but
fascinating.
for example, Tinder started in campus
Hmm.
to reach, this critical size, because you need to focus on a very homogeneous, data user base, to make sure that you have, enough people to launch the app, and then you have a wait list. People in other, age range sign up, and as soon as you have enough people, you're opening a new age range, and then you replicate this playbook in other cities, until you get like a national coverage. It is very expensive for an app to launch because you need to replicate your marketing playbook city by city. And as soon as you get national, your growth is accelerating because your brand awareness is much higher.
I'm sure that with AI, a lot of people are still skeptical about it being, about it working. But I can see how advantageous it would be to collect a lot of data on somebody and then find compatibility by asking the right questions. The problem is most people don't ask the right questions.
Yes,
And
yes,
yeah.
I totally agree. And one of the challenge that we I think we solved, is that, we when you ask, question in a conversational way, the data is not structured,
Mhm.
and a matching algorithm needs, to structure the data to make sure that the profile, pitched by the AI, fit with your criteria, And so we have been working a lot, on the best way to extract, the conversation that you can have with your AI, classify it, what is important, what is not important, what is private, what is public, and can be pitched. Uh, is it about your dating criteria? If yes, is it about your lifestyle? Is it about your professional life? Is it about your religion or spirituality? Is it about your political opinion? Is it about, your passion and hobbies? Is it about your sexual life, etc., etc.? Then we extract, classify everything, feed a matching algorithm that selects the most compatible, person for you, that will be pitched by your AI, and it took a lot of time, to fine tune, every model to be able to extract, the information the right way and to feed the matching algorithm, making sure that it is the right person for you, And the way we are doing it is we are not, only making sure that this person is compatible with your criteria. We also assessing a probability that the other person say yes to you, you know?
Mhm.
So we are maximizing the chance that both people want to go on date together, and it's how the tech work behind Amata.
Let's take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. This episode is brought to you by Amazon Music Unlimited. You can listen to over 70 million songs and thousands of playlists and stations. Plus, you can now stream your favorite podcasts like Last First Date Radio. You can listen to any song, anytime, anywhere, on any of your devices. Get Amazon Music Unlimited for free for 30 days. Just head on over to getamazonmusic.com/last first date to learn more and claim this offer. Even religion or politics have so many layers to them. Like I was talking to somebody recently and he said he doesn't talk to his sister because she voted for somebody that he doesn't support. And he's never brought up to her why she voted for this person, what the values are that she was, embracing. And to me, it's much more than I just voted for this person. And religion too. Religion is not just I believe in God, I believe in, Jesus or whatever it is. It's so much deeper than that. What is your connection? Why is that important to you? Do you believe in miracles? Do you, day to day, what is your connection? What are you doing? What are your priorities every week? And so there are ways, in my world where I coach clients, there are ways to ask questions that are not direct interview type questions to find out if there is compatibility. But for example, like emotional availability, you might ask, what does your week look like? What does the day look like in your week? And do you have room in that day to fit a partner? You know, so you're going to find out, are they booking their day so full of activities, or do they have nothing going on and they're just waiting for somebody to just drop into their life and make everything better? And so asking questions in a way that doesn't feel like an interview is a challenge for a lot of people. And I think that, with AI, again, the way that you ask these questions is going to give you different answers for different topics, right?
I totally agree. We should maybe partner with you to find the right way to ask the question. Maybe we can
I
make it.
I would love that. Yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and I would love to support you because I just feel like when people start asking the right questions, they get to the right answers much more quickly.
I totally agree.
And yeah, otherwise you spend 6 months and you wonder why you were blindsided and you thought this person was totally different. Then you have the first crisis and the person completely fell apart or yelled at you and is trying to control you and you didn't see it coming. It's just there's so many things that could be
Yeah,
avoided with the right kind of connection.
I totally agree. And the other thing that I think is interesting is the information that you get from the date feedback, especially regarding personality, because the way I speak about myself is very different from the way the other person speak about myself regarding my personality. Uh, and because the AI is organizing the date, unlike traditional dating app, then it asks you how it went, and then the AI tries to understand, what you liked, what you didn't like, and try to deep dive on the other person's personality, you know. And what we saw is that most of the time, if you let's say that you made 3 dates on Amata, we check, the debrief of the 3 dates and the way the different person you dated with describe your personality. Um, Most of the time is very close, and it means that the best way to describe your personality is through the eyes of the others, And personality is very important, I think, in compatibility for a lasting relationship. And it's also very difficult to assess based on questions that you ask directly. So
Mhm.
the way we want to, add this layer of matching based on personality, I think, is probably through the debrief of the first date that you did. And we are doing a lot of research and development on this topic, and the first results are quite interesting.
Hmm. I would love to hear more about that. I definitely believe in dating debriefs. I was looking at somebody's debriefs when she worked with another coach, and all of her debriefs were he was boring. Um, I don't know why he just disappeared. They were all very kind of surface level. And what I do is, how did your body feel during the date? Did you feel heard? Are you curious to know more? Um, It's like any red flags that you noticed, any yellow flags, how did you feel you did on the date? Like we're asking questions that have a lot to do with how we feel in that person's presence, which I think is so important and much more important than, he showed up late and I don't like the way she talked, and they're all important. But if a person shows up late and doesn't apologize, then that says something about their personality. And, or if they dominate the conversation and you interrupt them and they get really angry at you, that says something about their personality. And we tend to ignore those things if we are really attracted to somebody, or somebody pushes you to get physical too quickly, much more quickly than you want to, and you don't know how to deal with it. I mean, there are just so many things that come up in dating that are complex, that have to do with our past, that have to do with how we were raised as
Yes.
children. And it's such an important thing to know yourself really well, know the other person really well. Don't jump into anything before you discover who they really are. We often feel that we have to decide within 3 or 4 dates that this is the person that we're going to spend the rest of our lives with, and that's ridiculous. Because you discover things along the way. But if you don't know how to ask those questions and how to really assess and debrief, you're not going to find anything out really of importance.
Yes, I totally agree. And sometimes it is more emotional and less rational, and people
Correct.
try to be very rational, uh, and maybe sometimes to listen to your body or to listen to your emotions are more helpful than to listen to the rational part of your brain.
You need to balance both.
Yes.
It's rational, the head and the heart. Both are important.
I would like to share that based on the date debrief. Uh, what we saw, of course it's very early, we need more data, but I think that it's a very interesting trend is that we are able to determine the probability that you like someone before pitching you know uh, and we checked this probability, and we checked the date debrief that the AI tries to score, based on your debrief, if it went well or if it didn't go well. And what was very interesting is that it doesn't mean that if you have a very high probability to like someone, that the date will go well, you know, meaning that people are attracted, by pictures or certain criteria in their brief that will entice them to say yes to go on dates. But when you check if the probability that the date went well is higher and lower, if the probability of light is very high, we didn't see correlation, you know? And it's where your job is very, very interesting, and you have a very important role, I think, is to help people, finding the right criteria before saying yes to go on date. And
Mm.
I think that AI can help, but based on your 20, 30 years of experience, I think that you play a very, very important role to help people become aware of the right criteria for them.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And it's really just a fascinating thing. I think that when we work hand in hand with technology, we can get very far in life. It's knowing how to manage it. People were afraid of social media. A lot of my friends don't do social media because they're still afraid of it. And I have used it to grow my business, to connect with people, I started a large Facebook group where I support women. It's a wonderful tool if you use it correctly. If you just use it to look at people's cat pictures, and I mean, if that's your thing, that's great. But if you find it annoying with all the posts that you're seeing on social media, you get to actually control that. And so I think that, if we're less afraid of AI and use it to harness the power of AI to help us to find love, to connect with people, it's going to help us. It's going to definitely help us. And
I,
I
I,
can see the future.
I totally agree. And I also think that the AI experience makes the dating experience more human. I know that it's a little bit a paradox, and of course, I don't compare with the experience with a coach or an AI or a human matchmaker because it is most of the time very expensive to work with a human matchmaker. But if you just compare the experience that you can have with a swiping dating app and the experience that you would have with an AI matchmaker, the the experience with a human an AI matchmaker will be much more human, because it will be conversational, because you will be able to share feedback with your AI. You will be able to debrief your date with your AI. It will take into account, your feedback to improve the matching. What you cannot do with a swiping dating app. And so I know that some people, are scared by AI, thinking that the previous generation of dating app is maybe more human, but I don't think so. I'm sure that the swipe dehumanize, the dating experience, and it's probably one of the main reasons why people are feeling burned with online dating. And I think that the next generation, embodied by Amata, where an AI matchmaker gets to know you, will make the dating experience much more human. And I really want to emphasize it because maybe, for someone who didn't really experience Amata or this kind of AI matchmaking use, maybe they don't think like this, but they have to try because it is a very different way to approach, your dating life.
It sounds wonderful. And I think that if people, even without the huge database, even if they just go on to learn more about themselves at this point and
Yes,
be
yes,
part
yes.
of the
And
database.
our database is growing quite fast. Only in New York,
Mm-hmm.
we have more than 250, 300 people signing up every day. Uh,
Wow.
and we launched only 6 weeks ago. So it's growing
Mm-hmm.
very, very fast because I think that a lot of people are eager to discover this totally new dating experience. And the app is very, very efficient, to bring you on date without spending too much time on the platform. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that this value proposition is appealing for a lot of New Yorkers.
Yeah. And I'm in the New York area. So, and I'm sure it'll grow quickly. So any final words for people who want to go on their last first date besides trying the app?
I just think that you have to go, in real date. You have to meet people in real life because it's where you fall in love. I think that the worst thing that dating app did in the last 10 years is to make people addict to their phone, swiping with this impression of unlimited choice, this impression that that the next one will be better. This is terrible. You need to trust, yourself. You trust your gut, and spending 1 hour with a stranger uh, is not time lost. It can become the one and change your life forever. But if it doesn't work, it can become a friend or just a very interesting, sometimes inspiring conversation for 1 hour where you are totally open, you learn from the others, and you get some serendipity, you know. So I really think that's it's where you fall in love. It's in real life, and that people has to stop chatting forever or swiping forever.
Yeah. I totally agree with that. I think that people stay on the apps too long. They don't know how to get off the apps. And it's like that's not the purpose. It's yeah, it's a meeting app. It's not a dating app because you're not dating on the app. You're actually just connecting to somebody. And if you're not dating, what are you doing there?
Spend 1 hour in real life
Yeah.
than 2 or 3 hours chatting, you know?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so it's also a way to save time to go directly on dates.
Yeah, just meet people. And like you said, it's not always going to be a love connection, but it could be a friendship, it could be a business connection, it could just be a wonderful conversation. It could also be great information for you to add to your data around who is a good match. I mean, without experience, you don't know those things. And so you think this person might be a good match, you get on the date with them, you learn something new about yourself, about the other person, and then you move on. Otherwise, you're attaching so much expectation to every single meeting that can also burn you out so quickly. Anyway, tell us where people can find your app, Ludovic.
So they can find our app on the Apple Store, Amata, Amata. It means to be loved in Italian.
Ah,
And they can
okay.
find us on Instagram, Amata app.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. This has been a fascinating conversation, and I wish you the best of luck with the app.
Thank you so much. And I hope that we will be able to partner together down the road.
I would love that. I would really love that. And thanks everybody for listening today. If you love our podcast, please share it with everyone, follow the show, and leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And as always, here's to your last first date. If you are ready to get unstuck, gain new tools, become more empowered, and finally find your last first date, I'd love to talk to you. Fill out an application to be considered for a complimentary half-hour love breakthrough session at lastfirstdate.com/application.